Number one, knowing your body. The second thing is the way that I actually grocery shop. Staples that I always keep in my pantry. So how do I actually build my meals? So every meal that I eat has some sort of leafy green or green vegetable of some sort. I ensure that I get at least one hefty helping of leafy green vegetables a day. So whether that be the cabbage, the kale, what have you, or a mixture of the above, I ensure that there's a leafy green vegetable on my plate for at least one meal a day for the majority of my plate. If I'm going to have a meal that's a cheat meal or something like that, I would maybe just add a cauliflower rice or a green bean or something like that, and not a whole lot of it. But overall, I would have to balance out the next meal of the day with a hefty serving of leafy green vegetables. Second of all, I ensure that I have a healthy starch or starch replacement of some sort. So you can choose to do pastas, breads, white rice, white potatoes, things of that nature if you would like. I prefer not to, except in moderation, just because it makes me feel sluggish and kind of gross at the end of the day. But for those who are heavy bodybuilders or heavy in the gym, you're going to need the carbs. So I definitely recommend carb loading to a certain extent. With that being said, I typically choose a brown rice, a sweet potato, or a starch replacement like cauliflower rice. For the starch portion of my meal, I'll do beans in replacement sometimes, or I'll use my beans as my carb source for the day. Either way, I like to ensure that I have some sort of carbs, but I prefer to get the majority of my carbs from my dessert at the end of the night. Lastly, for my protein source, I ensure that I have a certain level of protein in all of my meals. I do use the MyFitnessPal tracker, and I do weigh all of my food so that I know how many macronutrients I'm getting into my body. I think that's very important, especially if you're just starting off and don't know what your body needs based off just feeling it. Having that tracker tell you how much you should be eating based on your weight, age, and size works really good for me. Lastly, when preparing your plates, I always swear by your seasonings. So it doesn't matter if you are eating lettuce and 2 pieces of carrots, those 2 leaves and that carrot is going to be seasoned. You cannot have a good healthy meal without seasoning. So I load up on multiple different seasonings. My seasoning cabinet is real hefty out here, especially I'm staying with my parents at the current time. Like I said, my dad's a chef, so we have almost every dried herb, every seasoning you could possibly imagine. But the go-tos that I stick with for a base of all of my meals is salt and pepper to taste, which salt and pepper are not seasonings, but you can fight me in the comments on that one. Garlic powder, onion powder, and some sort of spice. So the garlic powder brings a roundness to the flavor, onion powder brings a roundness to the flavor, and then some sort of spice. So whether that be chili flakes, chili powder, hot powder, cayenne pepper, it honestly just depends on what the flavors match with. So if I'm going for an Asian dish, I'm going to go more towards cayenne or sriracha than I am for a Texas Pete or a hot chili pepper. So you could play with that based on what it is that you actually like to eat. I think it just depends on your spice levels and things like that. But even if you can't take a lot of spice, a little bit of spice goes a long way. It brings a bit of full mouth flavor, full mouth feel to each of your dishes, even if you're eating something as simple as a salad. From that basic flavor profile, I will build, depending on the type of meal that I'm having, either a sauce or an herb profile. So if I'm going for something Italian, I'll go for an herb profile. If I'm going for something that's more American, I will go for a vinegar-based sauce profile. And if I'm going for something more Asian inspired, I will go for a soy sauce based sauce profile. And so with that, each one of my meals have a basic amount of flavor, even with no sauce. And then once you add the sauce or the herb profile to it, it just really goes a long way. So you could be really eating anything. I've gotten my family to eat Brussels sprouts, asparagus, kale, broccoli, vegetarian meals, vegetarian chilies, vegetarian spaghettis, homemade spaghettis, and different things like that that are super packed with all different types of vegetables and flavors, and all of it is just based off of the flavor profiles that you add to it. So vegetables are primarily water most of the time, so anything that you want to add to that, you will add more flavor to it and actually change it and make it more palatable based on what you season it with or what you sauce it with. So I hope that this was super helpful for you guys. It's just a super basic, really easy video, nothing super crazy, but I do think that it's pertinent that everybody do know how to build a basic meal, how to build a nice healthy meal. It definitely has helped me along my journey for weight loss, knowing what my body needs and how to give myself the nutrients that it needs for me to gain the most amount of muscle and lose the most fat. So until next time, you guys, thank you so much. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.